I don't throw darts at a board. I bet on sure things. Read Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Every battle is won before it's ever fought. Think about it. The most valuable commodity I know of is information. Wouldn't you agree?
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
A, B, C. A, always, B, B, C, closing. Always be closing. Always be closing. The show goes on!
It's Wednesday night and fantasy football is on the agenda. Grab a seat and let's get down to business. It's time for the Fantasy Boardroom. Here's your host, Tycoon.
And welcome to the Fantasy Boardroom. As always, I am your host, Tycoon, and we are riding solo tonight. We have one more day until the fantasy football season starts, of course, until the NFL season starts. Tomorrow we have the Lions and Chiefs kicking off, and it should be a national holiday, frankly. Can't believe I have to go to work. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. We need a petition. Write to your local congressman, local senators. Get it done. We need to start a movement. Same thing with the day after the Super Bowl, but this is right there with it. Now, with the season starting tomorrow, we're pretty much past the rankings point. You guys have your teams drafted. It is what it is. What we are going to do, though, is take one final look at each of these teams. Very briefly, we're really mostly going to focus on just a week one preview, but we'll throw in just some final thoughts on each team, or at least most of these teams as we go through. There are a lot of injuries that we got word of today. Just make sure you're following a good injury source. Don't have time on this show to go through these level of injuries. We don't have 2 hours. And this one's probably already going to be a little bit longer than I really would want it to. Really trying to keep it to 30, 40 minutes or so this season. Keep it easier to digest. However, with week one previews plus some final thoughts, we're going to extend a little longer in all likelihood on this one. So let's just dive right in, huh? We have our first matchup here, which is going to be Lions and Chiefs tomorrow, as we talked about, with the news of Travis Kelce's hyperextended knee. We have seen things shift towards the Lions, or at least down from the Chiefs. So they were at 7-point favorites. Now they are 4.5-point favorites. 4.5-point favorites is where we're at. I actually think that's really good if you're looking to bet on the Chiefs. I think 4.5 is a great line. I think the value has shifted towards Kansas City. If you're looking to play the game straight, that's what I would do. I don't really have any props that I love on this one, with the exception of David Montgomery's rushing yards, which I was able to get at over 47.5 yards rushing. That moved up to 52.5 as of last night. So, don't love it as much there, but if you were able to get on it early, if you're in the Discord, you grabbed it, we're Gucci. In this game, I would start, of course, Patrick Mahomes. I would start, all the big boys on the Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, of course. I would sit Jared Goff, shockingly. His home road splits were terrible last year. Kansas City, even with Chris Jones out, is still... Arrowhead's a tough place to play. So I'm not thrilled about starting Goff. You probably have a better option. Don't start Sam Laporta, rookie tight end, first game. Tough place to play. And Jerick McKinnon, not a great matchup for Jerick in this particular game. So those are the guys I would avoid. And Tony. Just never start Tony. Don't roster Tony. Get rid of him. Trade him. Maybe somebody buys in now for a week and really wants to try and capitalize if there's a chance. The Kelsey's out. But yeah. So that's where we're at with Lions Chiefs. Not really a lot of final thoughts other than Gibbs is going to be an RB1. He'll be low end, but RB1. Monty is a great value. I think he's still going to be top 20. I think I have him as my RB18. So those are final thoughts. Make sure you try to get some of these guys early if you weren't able to get them in your drafts. But Lions offense is going to be great overall for the year. And we already know what we know with Patty. With Kelce misses extended time, I do think Sky Moore will be the beneficiary, but it's really hard to say that with a lot of confidence. So just keep an eye on that situation. Keep an eye on Kelce. Now, before we move to the next matchup, wearing the hat, not typically a person who dons the cap here during a live broadcast. However, it's a day of celebration if you're a 49er fan like I am. We have signed Nick Bosa. He is the highest paid player in NFL history that does not play the quarterback position. Now, it's a lot of money, $34 million a year. I don't love having to have beaten the record by that much, but hey, we got our boy. We got Nick Bosa for the 49ers. Everything's settled. It's time to go. Focus on Pittsburgh. Week 1. Get into the season. Start strong for once. It's a great day. Great, great day. Welcome home, Nick. Welcome home. Now we move forward to the next matchup, which is the Buccaneers at the Vikings. The Vikings are also going off as 4.5-point favorites, over under 45.5. Don't really love anything here. I don't think there's any great value to be found in the straight lines. However, prop-wise, I do like one, and that's Chris Godwin, over 5.5 receptions. The Vikings defense is terrible. They didn't improve in the offseason. The secondary in particular is ass. So, there's really no reason not to like this. I know people are afraid of Baker. The Buccaneers aren't going to throw as much this year with Tom Brady. Obviously, they're not going to throw as much as they did with Tom Brady. However, Baker is going to have a very small decision tree, essentially. His reads are going to go Godwin, Evans, dump off. That's where most of these are going to go, short of other design plays. Godwin at getting 6 receptions, money in the bank. Lock it in. Now, as for your fantasy starts and sits here, I would start, of course, again, the big boys when it comes to Minnesota, because the Bucs defense is terrible too. If anything, I'd actually kind of like this over. There's going to be a lot of points scored, I think, as bad as Baker is. So start Cousins, start JJ, start Hawk, start Madison. Also start Chris Godwin. Also start Rashad White. Sit Baker, sit Mike Evans, sit Jordan Addison. Don't throw the rookie out there first week. I don't think it's going to pay off. So we move forward to the game of the week. Obviously, okay. But seriously, 49ers in the Steel City facing Pittsburgh for week 1. There is one prop that I like very, very much. And that is Christian McCaffrey under 63.5 rushing yards. Not a great matchup. And frankly, they are going to use him more as a receiver this year. Well, I mean, they used him a ton as a receiver this year, and he didn't beat this line consistently last year either. As far as the rushing goes, they're really going to look to spell him with Eli Mitchell quite a bit. Rushing is not where he's going to make his bones this year, and certainly not in this matchup to the tune of 64 yards. I feel like this is a very favorable line for bettors. You can feel pretty comfortable taking the under here. Niners are 2-point favorites. Surprisingly, after the Bosa sign, last night they were 2.5-point favorites. So this is actually a little interesting to me. I still don't know which way I go in this matchup, frankly. So I would probably largely stay away, but I would certainly take Christian McCaffrey under 63.5 rushing yards. However, you're still going to start him in fantasy, obviously. So make sure you start him, start Debo, start Ayuk, start Kittle, start Deontay Johnson, start George Pickens. One of those Niners is going to disappoint between Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle. Probably Kittle, but you're not going to have a better tight end option, so you need to throw him out there anyways. Same with Debo, Ayuk. I mean, those are guys, because of where you drafted them, how you drafted them, unless they consistently put up a bunch of horrible performances, which won't happen in this offense, you're going to have to start them every week. And just know that not every week is going to be great. Now sit Kenny Pickett, sit Najee Harris, sit Pat Fryer. Sorry, Herms. With Bosa back, I mean, this is still the best defense in the league. It's that simple. I know there were a lot of encouraging signs for the Pittsburgh offense in the preseason. Highlight catches from Pickens, who still can't separate. However, I wouldn't be shocked if he was able to catch a bomb at some point. And Deontay will still get his. I mean, we're not locked out in terms of the pass game, but they're not really going to score points, but they will, or the team's not going to score points, I mean, as far as the Steelers go. But Deontay and Pickens will get their stats. Najee's going to have a hard time rushing on us. Freiermuth's not going to do a damn thing against Fred Warner. And Pickett's going to he's going to be under duress all day. So I have no interest in any of those guys. Yeah, maybe I am leaning more towards the 49ers to win. Yeah, you can take the Niners here. Minus 125, that might be one of the better lines you get on him this year. Certainly one of the best numbers. So we move to the Titans at the Saints. Who dat? Well, who dat is Derek Carr. Now, I like his number for this week. It wasn't up on any of the books last night, but it was up on Underdog. Derek Carr over 237.5 passing yards. That is one I very much love. So you can start Carr, you can start Olave, you can start Michael Thomas, and obviously you're going to start Derrick Henry. I would sit Ryan Tannehill, DeAndre Hopkins. I know, shocker, because I actually like Hopkins a lot this year, but the Lattimore matchup could be a challenge. Sitting Traylon Burks, sitting Jamal Williams. Yeah. That's going to be very unpopular, but especially with Kamara suspended, Miller, who knows what's going to happen there because he's faced, he was recovering from injury even after being drafted and has been banged up a little bit here in the preseason and during camp. That seems silly, I understand, but Jamal Williams just isn't that good. I think Carr is just going to come out slinging it in his first game as a Saint, and also sit Juwan Johnson. The tight end is not going to be the focus here, and I'm pretty low on him overall this season. He's one of those late round picks. If you punt the position, he's got a good guy to have in a platoon, maybe matchup based, but that's about it. So that's where we're at. So take Derek Carr's passing yards, start him, start his top two receivers, and obviously start the king. Yeah, baby. And Derrick Henry. Now, you know what? Forget this. This isn't much of a season preview. I haven't really been going over final thoughts on these teams for the year, and there's really no reason to. We're just going to focus on what's ahead. We have our teams. We have the board. We're going to make picks. We're going to make lineup decisions. Texans at Ravens. So actually, we might get out of here a little sooner than I thought. Go figure. Texans at Ravens. This is one I'm excited to watch just because I'm really interested to see the Ravens' new look offense. Now, versus the Texans, you're going to have to take it all with a grain of salt. I know D'Amico Ryans is in town, who I'm a big fan of and think is going to do a tremendous job ultimately with Houston. But in game one of the D'Amico Ryans era in this rebuild, temper expectations, especially against unleashed Lamar. He got injured last year when I called for his MVP campaign in the contract year, but you know what? We're going to scrap that. This is the 2023 Lamar Jackson Redux year. Yes, he's won it once. He's going to do it again. It's going to be a beautiful thing. He's got talent to throw to. He's got an open offense. It's going to be a bit more of a spread option offense. This is going to be sexy. Woo! Lamar to the moon, baby. I cannot wait to watch this offense this year. In any case, there's not much here in terms of value on these regular lines. With the Ravens going off as 10-point favorites, which they should be, but it's nothing I'm going to play with. I'm not going to play with the total either, not really knowing what we're going to see out of the Texans, who I think are going to be facing a tough test in the Ravens defense. And on that note, actually, it does give me one prop I like. Again, one that was not up on the books last night, maybe now, so make sure you go check. I didn't have a chance to before the show. CJ Stroud, under 213.5 passing yards, was found on Underdog. I would probably take that as low as 210.5 passing yards. I think it's going to be a long day for the rookie facing a skilled defense, tough pass defense, in a game that his team is going to be completely overmatched in. On a similar token, Dameon Pierce, under 66.5 rushing plus receiving yards. I do not expect to see much of him out of as a receiver. I believe his rushing line was around 49.5 yards or the low 50s. Regardless, that means, another 10 to 13 receiving yards would be necessary. Yeah, this would take a broken play at some point for him to achieve, which I'm willing to bet against. I'm not really worried about his volume when all they can do is just hand off and give halfback dives to Pierce. It's not going to scare me. So 66.5 rushing plus receiving yards under on Underdog. Also might finally be up on books. Wasn't last night. And in this game, starts and sits are super simple. Start Ravens players, sit Texans players. So I wouldn't start Beckham or Flowers, even though I'd start Bateman, Andrews, Lamar, Dobbins. That's what I'm looking at doing. Flowers or OBJ if they're your flavor over Bateman, but Bateman's the guy. We move to a matchup full of, I'd say, some young talent. One team that's good, one team that's not, but a lot of players that we have a lot of interest in. Now, start sits on this one are super easy in a game where, shockingly, the Jaguars are only favored by 5. That seems low. The Colts are going to be horrible. They are going to be horrible. People are talking about how the Cardinals are tanking, and they are. I mean, they've gutted that team. There's more talent here with Indianapolis, so they should finish higher. But I mean, they could challenge for that. If they pull a Bears, get the number 1 pick, and then trade it, get a haul for Caleb Williams, or immediately move off of A-Rich. Ooh, that would be spicy. That'd be fun. Pull the Cardinals there. Actually, that'd be anything that keeps Caleb Williams out of our division, away from Arizona. I'm all for. So I would love to see the Colts pull something off like that. But in any case, this is really not a close matchup to me. The money lines indicate that, but 5 points actually still seems wrong. I would take the Jaguars, given the points. No problem there. And one prop I fucking love. And if you know me, you know my love for Travis Etienne. And you know I'm smashing over 56.5 rushing yards. Are you kidding me? 56.5? This can be done on a play with Travis against a team like Indianapolis. This is dumb. That's probably my favorite pick of the week, at least to this point. So at minus 115, I am hammering that. Absolutely hammering. Not worried about Nick Bixby. If anything, we'll worry about potential receiving work being taken from ETN, which he didn't get a ton of anyways by Bixby, but not his rushing. No. ETN's the guy. 56.5 rushing yards is insulting. That will be iron next week. Believe you me. So yeah, start the Jaguar players you have. Sit the Colts. Start Trevor. Start ETN. Start Ridley. Start Kirk. Start Ingram. Just start them all. Not everybody will hit, but yeah, you don't sit players in this matchup. Another matchup where you don't sit players is this Bengals and Browns matchup. Bengals at the Browns. Bengals are 2.5-point favorites. Over under 47.5. One prop I love is Deshaun Watson over 236.5 passing yards. I think this game's going to be a bit of a shootout, to be honest. I start damn near everybody. If you drafted a Brown, if you drafted a Bengal in the first 10, 11 rounds, you're playing that guy. You're putting in Mixon, T, Burrow, all those guys. Chase. I forgot the best one of all. On the Brown side, Watson, Cooper, Njoku, Chubb, all of them. Just all of them. All the points are going to be scored here in Cleveland on Sunday. And Deshaun Watson, they've given a pretty... I don't even think he's going to hit 250 yards. 250? Ooh. Nah, Cooper, more. Chubb supposedly going to be worked more into the passing game. We'll see. I think he can do it. It's just they've never had him do it. But, I mean, I want the ball in Nick Chubb's hands if I'm the Browns, right? So, find a couple more creative ways to do so. So, yeah, here, just start all of them and take Deshaun Watson over 236.5 passing yards. Cardinals at Commanders, just the absolute worst game of the week. We're not really going to spend any time on. You can start 3 Commanders here in this game. You can start Sam Howell. You can start Antonio Gibson. You can start Jahan Dotson. Some people like Brian Robinson. I would not roster him, so I'm not going to mention him as a start and just sit every Cardinal player. Don't roster any Cardinals as well. James Conner's about the only potentially acceptable one. Just absolutely disgusting, that team. Let's see, start the core of the Commanders, but I don't know how productive they'll be, but it's one of the best matchups there. So, no, what you do start is the Washington defense. If you still are in a league that has team defenses, you absolutely got to start Washington. They are going to just feast on Joshua Dobbs. I kind of feel bad for him. And welcome. What up, Tycoon? I'm sure I missed it, but Bosa is back in the Bay. You sure did. That's why I'm wearing the hat tonight. You know, you're a hat wearer, a San Francisco 49ers hat wearer, Rasta. When you broadcast, you know that I typically do not do that, but it's a day of celebration. Our boy's back. Nick is home. Super Bowl time. Let's fucking go. So yeah, Cardinals fans, just ignore it. Don't worry about it. And then another game that's kind of gross, but at least has a couple of players of interest on the Falcons side. In this game, the Falcons are going off as 3.5-point favorites here at home, which I actually do like. What I'd really try to do is try to work that money line into a small parlay, 2 or 3 teamer, little juice reducer. That extra half point has me nervous, but I don't think the Falcons are going to lose. Don't know what to think of the over-under either. The Panthers had a respectable defensive performance to end the year last year. Wilkes is gone, but Brian Burns is still there, so this will be a game that I'm not really into. There is one prop I like. Again, like some of the other passing yardage props, they were not up on the books yet yesterday, but they are available on Underdog. One of them being Bryce Young under 210.5 passing yards, fading another rookie QB in a road matchup to start the season. Simple to me. 210 passing yards with no receiving core besides Adam Thielen. I mean, hey, Mingo, give me a break. This is a joke. So Bryce Young is not going to eclipse that against an improved Atlanta defense and Atlanta secondary in particular. Take that with confidence into your pick slips there on Underdog, and also keep an eye out for it on your sports books. Yes, and more. Yes, casual Wednesday in the boardroom on the special. It's been a little casual for the start. It's been polos instead of button-ups. It's a chiller version of the boardroom. We're just trying to make it more fun. You know what I mean? Maybe the boardroom shtick was a bad idea to start. I mean, people work all day. They really want to go in what's like a work-like setting in their free time. Hell no. So, I don't know. May have to rebrand at some point. But for now, it's still the damn boardroom. I am still the damn Tycoon. And we're going to get after it. We're getting down to business. So, in this game, Bryce Young under 210.5 passing yards. Only 2 guys I really love starting. Miles Sanders, Bijan Robinson. They'll get their volume, and I'm never going to sit Bijan ever. Probably starting Drake London and Kyle Pitts. Probably. Because you probably don't have better options, for those of you that have them on your team. Otherwise, sit everybody else. Sit the quarterbacks. Sit tight ends. Sit every Panther but Miles Sanders. I don't think this is going to be a wonderful game. Eagles and Patriots. Eagles is 4-point favorites here on the road against Old Bill. Again, not a game I'm really in love with. It'll be interesting to see how the Eagles do in their first game post Super Bowl disappointment. How the Patriots do with Mac Jones now playing for an offensive coordinator again. They have no receivers. Juju, Devontae Parker. And Juju's knee might explode. Saw a tweet of the week for sure this year on that. After the report that Juju's knee could explode at any minute. Might be the only explosive thing on that team. Oof. That was a burn, but true. Very accurate. Very disappointing. So really, here's the very simple take on this game. You start all your Eagles, including DeAndre Swift, especially DeAndre Swift, and you sit all your Patriots except Ramondre Stevenson. He'll get his. But other than that, I really want nothing to do with the Patriots now or most of the season. This is not a gross game. Actually, what might be the actual game of the week here is Dolphins and Chargers. The Tua Herbert discourse over the last few years between these two fan bases as a neutral third party has really been fun to watch. They really go after each other in comparing these two guys. I mean, simple fact, Herbert's better than Tua. I think that question's been answered. Tua's good, though. I'm a Tua fan. So I think this is going to be a hell of a game. Two lacking defenses. And I call the Dolphins lacking because they do not have Jalen Ramsey to start the season. I call the Chargers defense lacking simply because they always seem to disappoint. They have a good defense on paper every year, it seems, but guys get hurt or underperform. So until I see them actually consistently play well, I am not going to give them the benefit of the doubt, especially against the Mike McDaniel offense with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Tua Tagovailoa, and Raheem Mostert. The Mostert Toddy. That's the guy. Love Raheem. Shout out. There are two props I like in this one. Again, like the quarterback passing yards, not on the boards last night. Hopefully they are now. More reception props. Tyreek over 6.5 receptions. Keenan Allen over 5.5 receptions. Both are easy picks for me on underdog. I think there are going to be a lot of passes thrown, a lot of passes caught, a lot of points scored in this game. So Chargers are 3-point favorites, and I do like them to edge them out. Not enough to take that number, but the over and under being at 51, I like that over. I know it's a high number, but with these two offenses, I will take that. I'm not really too worried about the Dolphins on the road because it's probably going to be a Dolphins home game. I live in Southern California. There's a lot of Dolphins fans out here. I personally know more Dolphins fans here than Charger fans. Like, just me. So, it's going to be fun to see that stadium. I know when the Chargers were still playing, I forget the name of the small soccer stadium the LAFC was playing at, adjacent to the campus of Cal State Dominguez Hills. One of my family's friends who happens to be a Dolphin fan went, and yeah, it was majority Dolphins fans. And I don't expect that to be any different in SoFi come Sunday. So I'm not worried about any home field advantage for the Chargers, like we rarely ever are. And as far as start sits go, this is another game you start everybody. Everybody. If you drafted a Dolphin, Raheem Mostert, Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, you're playing them. If you drafted any Chargers, Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Justin Herbert, you're playing them all. And don't start QJ yet. Quentin Johnson, but everybody else, boom. Simple decision. This is easy. And of course, this is sandwiched between, obviously, we just talked about Eagles Pats, and now sandwiched between another ugly game in Rams and Seahawks. This is an interesting one just because, as an astute observer of the NFC West, despite the disparity between these teams on paper, the Rams have the Seahawks numbered. The Rams have beaten the Seahawks in the weirdest ways, the craziest ways, when they were complete ass, when the Seahawks were still at the height of their Russell Wilson days. There's some weird juju in the NFC West. Niners always beat the Rams. Rams always beat the Seahawks. Seahawks always beat the Niners, and the Cardinals just whatever. But between the three real teams in the division, there's just that strange ownage between us. It doesn't really make sense. And it never really mattered whether the teams were good or not. It's the strangest thing. Only the last couple of years have the Niners really been able to have strong performances against the Seahawks. First time in over a decade. I mean, it's 2010s were wild. Even though it should be an easy and obvious Seahawks pick here, I can't do it. I'm very tempted to just put a little sprinkle on the Rams money line. Even without Kupp, I don't care. Weird things happen in these games. I mean, they went off these fake punts and shit in the years past. I can't even explain. Just go back and look up the history between the Rams and the Seahawks in the 2010s. So I am staying away from all of that. I want nothing to do with any Ram in fantasy, period. So just, you're sitting all the Rams, and yeah, you start Geno, Kenneth Walker, DK, Lockett. That's it. If JSN is active, I would not start him yet. Might play. There's no way he's 100% with that wrist yet. I'm not playing around with that. Just give it a couple weeks when it comes to Jackson Smith and Jigba. To another man, as we move through the sport, these games are, especially this afternoon slate, not so great. I'm going to watch every single one of them, but I feel like the NFL did not set us up for a wonderful beginning. Packers, Bears. So if you're fans of these teams, this is always a fun rivalry. It'll be fun to see who the Packers still own the Bears without A-Rod, because Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears, but do the Packers. The Bears are 1-point favorites. They've got this pretty even. I don't believe much in either team. I'm not touching any of that. But what I do believe in is that they're going to attempt, the Bears, to really develop Fields as a passer. They're trying to follow the mold of, bringing in Diggs for Allen, essentially. They want that number one receiver for their young passer. I'm still a little skeptical about what Fields has shown and what his future outlook is in that department. Even still, there's going to be an attempt. 179.5 yards as his line feels correct based on last season, feels low based on the outlook of this season. I am happy to take that, which is weird. I would have never taken this line for Justin Fields last year, but I think there's going to be a very concerted effort to have him throw more. So you start Fields, maybe DJ Moore if you drafted him, and you start Aaron Jones in this game, and that's it. I really want nothing to do with anybody. Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, both popped up on the injury report today. Christian Watson, I've been low on anyways. Jordan Love, I don't believe in. Green Bay defense actually could be good. That's why I would only want Fields really on the Chicago side. And I don't really know what to make quite of the new Green Bay offense yet, but it's one I don't really believe in, so I'm really staying away, except for Aaron Jones. Sit everybody. Gross-ass game. And we continue with less than stellar, although this is not quite as gross. The Las Vegas Raiders travel to Denver to face off against the Broncos, who are a 4-point favorite there at home. Not much I love in terms of the standard lines either, including the over-under of 44. And nothing I really loved in the prop department either on this game, frankly. I believe, as we've talked about in the offseason, that we are going to see a nice turnaround here from Denver. I do think the marriage of Peyton and Russ is going to work, despite the harsh comments that were reported from Peyton to Russell Wilson about worrying less about Russell Inc. That we heard about this week. I just think Peyton is that mind. I think Russ is still that talent. I don't think we would have seen what we did from him for 10 plus years. Just have it fall off the face of the earth in one season under one of the worst coaching jobs we've ever seen. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's a very good quarterback. So I'm willing to start him against what I anticipate will still be a poor Las Vegas defense. It's going to be the pass rush will get there at times. Max Crosby is an absolute beast. But otherwise, what is there? Chandler Jones is unhappy. Is he even going to play? Is he going to still be on the team come Sunday? I don't know. It's always drama. So I'll never love the vibe around the Raiders as long as McDaniels is there. So yeah, no props I like. And Denver's defense will be strong, remain strong. Good defense. There's only two guys that I'm comfortable playing with in my lineups that are on the Raiders, and that is, of course, the big boys, the first and second round picks, and Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, probably both second round picks, but still, the big boys. So Devontae, Josh, they get in there. On the Denver side, you're putting in Rush, you're putting in Javonte Williams, you're putting in, I know he's tight end 2 on the depth chart, but he's the better receiver, Greg Dulcich. Receiver-wise, I mean, I kind of want to throw Marvin Mims out there, but still, rookie wide receiver, week 1. It's not a call I'm going to make, so I'm going to sit everybody else here. There's certainly going to be other better options out there, not part of this matchup. And that gets us through the main slate. We only have 2 more matchups to go. Sunday Night Football, Cowboys at Giants in the Meadowlands. Cowboys are favorites, of course. They are going off as 3.5-point favorites on the road. Probably going to cover because they do own the Giants of late. They are still going to have the top 5 defense in the league, if not better. The Giants, I think, had a very fortuitous year last year. While I'm excited about the addition of Darren Waller, they still don't really have much in the way of a strong receiving core. It's not very good. It's Barkley and Waller, and we'll see what Daniel Jones can do now that he's been paid. Paid him a lot of money, $40 million a year. I know it's going rate for quarterbacks, but woof, it's Daniel Jones. I know we got to the playoffs last year. He can run. When I watch Daniel Jones, I still have never really walked away from a game like, damn, Danny Dimes actually pretty good. Earning that nickname, Dimes, holy shit. No, not really. So, tough task. I'm not really feeling the Giants this week outside of Barkley and Waller. However, I am feeling the Cowboys. Why not? Start Dak, start Lamb, start Pollard. Just the big boys again. This is primetime matchup. There are gosh, should have thought about this one more before I start talking about it. Divisional matchups are generally tight. Also, I don't really love the 3.5 line. I don't think I take that hook for the Cowboys, though they should win. I don't know if that's going to be a ton of points scored in this game, but I'm certainly willing to roll with the big boys on Dallas. They'll get into the end zone once or twice more. So just take the stars. I'm sitting Daniel Jones. I'm sitting Brandon Cooks. I'm sitting every Giants wide receiver in this matchup. There's not much appeal there to close out Sunday night. And then we move to what I think most will consider the game of the week. Certainly one of them, along with Dolphins and Chargers for me. But in terms of narratives and storylines, this certainly has to take the cake. We have the Buffalo Bills traveling to New Jersey to take on the new look Aaron Rodgers-led New York Jets, 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 baby. Even though I don't really care for Aaron, don't care for the Jets. Love Josh Allen, love the Bills. Hoping they triumph. They are 3-point favorite, 2.5-point favorites on the road. I would not take that for granted. Not what I would bet on. I think Buffalo will win, but it would not shock me in any way whatsoever if we get a bit of a Hollywood debut for Aaron Rodgers out there in the New York metropolitan area. And also part of the reason I have a little doubt is because there's a prop I like for a player I love, but it's an under. Stephon Diggs, under 69.5 receiving yards. Once again, wasn't on the books yet last night. Make sure you're checking. If it stays around that 69-ish yard, I probably wouldn't take it if it was any lower, but I don't think he's going to hit that 70-yard mark against Sauce Gardner. He is legit. He's a lockdown corner. As good as Diggs is, another year older, against a guy in his second year on the rise. This is a matchup where I'm going to take Sauce, unfortunately. So take the under there on underdog. This is a game where you just got to go with the names. You start Josh Allen, you start James Cook. You probably still need to start Diggs, even under 6.5 yards, could get a touchdown. So you're going to start Diggs. We might want to start Gabe Davis, as weird as it is for me to say, but secondary option here is a way I actually might be looking with Buffalo in this game. And then obviously on the New York Jets side, you're going to start Aaron Rodgers. You're going to start Garrett Wilson. And I'm going to say start Dalvin Cook. Let's wait to see what's going on with Brees first. He's probably going to be active here in week 1, but I am not going to roll him out first week. Let's see how he looks in live action post recovery from the ACL surgery. So, a couple of disclaimers here. Just all lines that are referenced here on the tickers and any props that had the actual lines associated with them are all DraftKings odds. That's where you're going to want to go if these are the numbers you're trying to get. Make sure you do line shop. I just like to refer to DraftKings because it is a simple, widely available app, and the FanDuel interface blows. So this is the next most widely available one here in the United States, but you can check with your preferred book and look for the best line possible or just who you like to place your bets with. And all parlay site lines, I repeatedly mentioned, were from Underdog, but make sure you can always compare them to Prize Picks, to Sleeper, as we get deeper into the season, and also on Discord, generally Friday and Saturday, I'll be releasing more picks. I will call that out. So not all props have been released yet. As I mentioned, several of my Underdog picks will have straight lines available, and I will be including them in my picks. So make sure you're also following me on Twitter at @FF_Tycoon. And following the Discord, I will get a link into this video. I've been poor about that, but the Discord link is also in my Twitter profile for the most up-to-date picks. Discord being the most current. So make sure you do sign up for the Discord server there. And that will wrap it up, though. Because, as with the show being Wednesday, things change. Stay tuned in for updates is what I can say. And with that, it's nearly time to close the show. So make sure that you are signing up for Underdog using promo code ROGUE. They will match your deposit your first deposit up to $100. You put in $100, you'll get $200. Same thing with Prize Picks. Using code ROGUE, ROGUE. Can't even spell. And also on Sleeper, they will give you $25. And they have their Sleeper's interesting. They've really put a lot of work into their picks area. I had mixed feelings about it, but there are values to be found. The multipliers are different, so they're not as straight. Whereas on sites like Underdog and Prize Picks, a 2-pick is a 3x multiplier, so you can triple your bet. It varies a bit on Sleeper based on the picks in conjunction with what the actual odds are. So it can be fun. But make sure you do sign up on Sleeper and use referral code RF-FF_Tycoon. RF for referral dash and then FF_Tycoon, obviously, for me. Once more, drive it home. Make sure you go to my Twitter, click the Discord link, and also check, of course, the link under the video that will be there if you're watching this in the future. It's not there as we talk live. And make sure you stay fully up to date. We're here. We're back. It's football time, baby. We start tomorrow. Then we have the full slate on Sunday. I'm so damn excited. I know you are too. So let's get after it. This meeting is adjourned. Let's win together.